Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today some Madden NFL 16, and what we're going to be doing with this video is actually showing off a lot of the new passing and catching mechanics that are available to us here in Madden 16. I was actually able to get an early copy of this game. I was able to play around with it a lot before the game actually made its full release, which it actually ended up coming out today. And what I wanted to do here with this video is just kind of share with you guys the new passing and catching mechanics. It's one of like the big criticisms that you usually see with Madden is every single year, like, oh, it's just a roster update, there's no actual changes to the game. But this year, there's actually a lot of changes to the game, specifically with the passing and catching mechanics, which are going to put a lot more control in the hands of the player, and people that are actually able to go ahead and master these new mechanics are definitely going to excel while playing in Madden NFL 16. So hopefully you guys all actually enjoy this video, and hopefully you guys all find it helpful and informative. But before we get into that, this video actually has a sponsor. This Madden 16 video is actually being brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is the leader in one-week fantasy football with real money, with immediate cash payouts, and no season-long commitment. If you're a fan of fantasy football like I am, I have a team every single year, but maybe you don't like the commitment of an entire season to a single team for a number of reasons. I've definitely been there. Maybe you had a really bad draft. Maybe people in your league stopped paying attention and stopped updating their teams. Maybe there's people in your league that are just messing around. There's a number of reasons why you maybe wouldn't want to commit an entire season to one fantasy football team. Give FanDuel a look. They specialize in one-week fantasy football. I'm sure you guys have seen their commercials on ESPN. I actually saw like 3 of them just this morning while I was waking up because I always watch ESPN when I go to sleep. But over there, they offer free contests as well as paid contests that can start in at $1. There are one-week contests, so you get the fun of drafting a new fantasy team very often, and you can even challenge your friends or play against other people on the website. There are 20,000 new leagues created every day, and you can participate in as many of them as you guys would like. If you guys are interested in checking out FanDuel, follow the link down in the video description. I hope you guys give them a look because they were kind enough to actually sponsor me here for this video. With that aside, let's go ahead and actually discuss the new passing as well as catching mechanics that are going to be in Madden NFL 16. So to start the passing mechanics, right, we're going to be starting out here in practice just to show you guys what some of this is going to be like. You now have more control than ever when actually throwing the ball. You have the option to throw a high pass, a low pass, a bullet pass, a lob pass, or a touch pass, depending on what you would like to do with this. And then, of course, on the receiver end, you can take control of the receiver and really customize how you're going to catch the ball and what you're going to be doing with the ball after you catch it. So to start things off here, let's show you guys the high pass. So to throw a high pass, you're going to basically hit the left bumper if you're playing on the Xbox, or the L1 button if you're playing on the PlayStation, and that is going to throw the ball high. Now keep in mind, you're also going to be able to correspond this with a bullet. Like you can throw a bullet high pass, you can throw a lob high pass, you can throw a touch high pass, or anything like that. So basically you're going to be able to throw the ball high however you would like to do it, and this is obviously good for taller receivers. Think like Calvin Johnson, or just think anybody that's maybe 6'3" or higher, or maybe you have a particular matchup where your receiver has like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 inches on the corner that's covering him, and you want to throw the ball up there. That way your receiver has a better chance to actually go ahead and catch it. That's how you're going to do it. You're going to be pressing the left bumper or the L1 button. Perhaps maybe you want to go the opposite and you want to throw a low pass. You can do so by hitting the left trigger or the L2 button. So keep in mind, it's going to be both of the left buttons. And how I remember it is the top button, the LB or the L1 button, depending on what platform you're on, is going to be the high pass, and the lower button, the LT or the L2 button, is going to be the low pass. So just keep in mind that way. If you actually want to throw it like towards their ankles, make it so it's very easy for them to catch the ball, you're basically going to be trying to put it in a spot where only your receiver can actually catch the ball, and that's what the low pass is going to be there for. You can of course throw a bullet, which is going to just be pressing the receiver icon and holding it down like it has been in every single Madden game as long as I can remember anyway. Keep in mind, I've been playing Madden since Madden 04. You can throw a lob pass like you have been able to in just about every Madden game by tapping the receiver icon. So all you gotta do is just tap the receiver icon, you're gonna lob a pass to them. And new to Madden 16, you now have the touch pass, which the best way to explain it, I suppose, is it's going to be kind of an in-between of a bullet and a lob. Like, it's not going to be a bullet, but it's not going to be a lob. It's kind of in between. And how you do that is you just double tap the receiver icon, right? That's all you do. Just double tap the receiver icon, and you will throw this touch pass, which again is going to be kind of a mid-range between a lob and a bullet pass. So keep that in mind. Those are going to be the different kind of passes you can throw. And now, once you actually throw the ball, let's talk about the new catching mechanics that are going to be featured here in Madden 16. So there's going to be 3 new ones. There's going to be the run after the catch. There's going to be the aggressive catch, and there's going to be the possession catch. So to cover on the possession catch first, because this is the one that's going to really save your butt in a lot of games, a possession catch is where the receiver protects the ball and uses his body to cover up the ball and really tries to secure the catch. He's not usually going to get many yards after the catch. He's basically going to do everything he can to catch that pass and just fall to the ground and just make sure he holds on to it just to guarantee he gets that catch. And you're going to be able to do that by pressing the A button or the X button if you're playing on the PlayStation. So I've actually done this a couple of times. Maybe if you're going to be running running like a slant route, like maybe it's say 3rd and 2 and you want to run a slant route to try and pick up that first down, and you want to just bullet it right to your receiver, you want to press A immediately, making them to actually go for the possession catch, and then they'll try and catch it and just fall right down. It can definitely help out a lot, and you actually have a pretty good chance of catching the ball if you're going for a possession catch. But keep in mind, you're not usually going to get many yards after the catch. A lot of times your receiver is going to try and just catch it and fall over, or he'll try and catch it and like tiptoe before going out of bounds or things like that. So keep in mind, a possession catch has a pretty high chance of being caught, but you're not usually going to get many yards after the catch, if you're going to get any yards after the catch at all. Speaking of yards after the catch, let's talk about the run after catch, which definitely doesn't have a good ring to it, but this is basically going to be a catch where your receiver turns upfield during the catch animation, looking to get more yards after the catch, right? So this is going to be if you're throwing to somebody that's maybe on a post route or a fly route or something like that, where they have a few steps already on the defender, and you just want them to catch the ball and they just continue on running, right? You don't want them to catch and fall down to secure the catch. You want them to catch it, keep on running as fast as humanly possible. This is obviously good in certain situations where your receiver has kind of a step on the people that are defending him, and that makes it so they can get a lot more yards after the catch. But one downside to this is you are definitely a lot more susceptible to interceptions. You're definitely a lot more susceptible to dropped passes and knockouts, right? So for example, maybe even if the guy's wide open, if he's so focused on, catching the ball and then trying to run upfield with it, maybe he takes his eye off the ball for a second and drops it. That's definitely something that can happen if you're going to be pressing the X button as well as the square button, depending on what platform you're playing on, to actually go ahead and get the run after catch. I found this actually worked out a lot while I was playing Madden 16 so far. I actually used it quite a bit because there's a lot of instances with the kind of routes I like to run personally. I like to run a lot of screens. I like to run a lot of slant routes, a lot of short passes, basically. I'm a Browns fan, right? I'm not used to throwing deep. So I definitely like the run after the catch feature, as again, it doesn't really roll off the tongue very well, but it's definitely one of those ones where you gotta be careful with it, because if you try throwing into traffic with this, they might end up getting hit pretty easily, and then they might actually end up dropping the ball, because while they're trying to catch the ball and run upfield, they're not trying to focus on like pulling in the pass perfectly. So therefore, if they get hit, they're a lot more susceptible to actually getting the ball knocked out. And the final catch we're going to be talking about is going to be the aggressive catch, which I have no doubt is going to be a huge feature in Madden 16, where everybody's going to be trying to do this online. The aggressive catch is where the receiver will try to catch the ball at its highest possible point. Now, I played receiver in high school, and this is what they taught us to do. Try to get the ball at its highest possible point. That way, if you're going up against the defender, you can actually jump up there and try and get the ball at its highest point. Therefore, you're making it so they can't actually get to the ball. And with me being a receiver and me being 6'3", and at least in my high school and the people that my high schools were facing, most of the people that played corner were just like the short little kids that weren't big enough to be like linebackers or linemen. So they would put the little guys there at corner. And so there was a big 6'3" me there playing receiver. And so I definitely learned how to get the ball at its highest possible point. I learned how to do jump catches and things like that. And that's exactly what the aggressive catch is going to be like. You're basically going to be pressing the Y button or the triangle if you're playing on the PlayStation, and you're going to be jumping up trying to catch the ball at its highest possible point. It's obviously good to do this with a high pass, right? There's really no point in trying to do an aggressive catch if you're just going to be bulleting the ball towards their ankles or something like that. Like, you basically want to use the aggressive catch if you're going to be lobbing the ball up, using the high pass mechanic, throwing the ball up, and obviously you're going to want a receiver that's, probably pretty taller. Like, you picture like a Calvin Johnson or something like that, somebody that can really jump up there and get the ball at its highest possible point. That's when you're really going to see a lot of work coming from the aggressive catch as compared to the possession catch or the run after catch. Now, obviously, once again, you're going to have receivers that are good at jumping, or maybe just are tall in general, but you can also see a lot of really cool, spectacular catches if you're going to go ahead and go for the aggressive catch, because basically you're telling your receiver, yes, be aggressive, do whatever it is you need to do, go up there and try and get that ball. And if anything, if you see the corner or the safety trying to actually intercept the ball, go for the aggressive catch. Maybe you can knock it out of their hands, and basically you start playing defense and offense, which is pretty interesting. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, those are going to be the 3 new catching mechanics. Once again, the run after catch, the aggressive catch, and the possession catch, along with the new passing mechanics, which are going to include the high pass, the low pass, the bullet to the lob, as well as the touch pass. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the end of this Madden NFL 16 video. Hopefully you guys can take these tips away and actually start thinking about how you're going to implement them into Madden NFL 16, because again, this gives you a lot more control as a quarterback. You definitely have a lot more control as to where the ball is going to be going, as to how you're going to be throwing the ball, how you want your receivers to catch the ball, and obviously this is going to increase the skill gap in Madden a little bit more than what it was before, where basically you could always just bullet it in wherever you wanted to bullet it, and they would either catch the ball or they didn't, and that's how people would play. Well, now it's definitely going to have a lot more finesse to it. It's definitely going to require a lot more skill, and the people that obviously take full advantage of these new passing and catching mechanics are going to really shine when playing against other people in Madden NFL 16, or just playing playing the franchise and playing against the computer. Maybe if you're playing on all Madden like I like to do and you play on the hardest difficulty, then being able to master this kind of stuff is definitely what is going to set a good player away from a bad player. But once again, be sure to go ahead and check out FanDuel, who of course is the sponsor for this video. Down there in the video description, you can find a link that will take you over there to their website. It's actually going to be fanduel.com/NerosCinema, and over there you can use promo code Nero to get up to $200 matched on your deposit. So basically, if you do want to do some paid leagues, they will actually match you dollar for dollar up to $200, and you can start joining any kind of a league. There can be some really cheap leagues that are down to $1. There's some really expensive ones which are like several $100s to be able to join. It's all really what you would like to do. Once again, they specialize in weekly fantasy football, and they will be paying out over $75 million weekly this NFL season. I've actually signed up myself, just so you know I actually use this. This is actually going to be my roster for week 1. They run like on a salary system, which is something I'm not super comfortable with. I've never really did salary before, but I think I picked some pretty good people, and it's kind of interesting because you want to grab like initially all the great players, right? And then you're like, well, wait a minute, they all cost a lot in a salary format, so I can't afford to have just all the greatest players every single week. So you have to kind of go for some cheaper people. That's why I went with Brent Selleck and the Cleveland defense and stuff like that. Because again, I think Cleveland can do pretty good against the Jets in week 1. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to go ahead and check out FanDuel. Once again, link down in the video description. It'll take you over to fanduel.com/NerosCinema, where you can actually use promo code Nero and get up to $200 actually matched on your deposit. I hope you guys will enjoy this Madden 16 video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.